You're listening to Top of the Pops from the BBC World Service. My great pleasure to welcome to the studio the Pet Shop Boys. Hello, how are you both?
Very good. How are you?
Neil and Chris, good to have you here.
Nice to meet you.
The last time was in a caravan at the Eclipse. Let's move on from that.
Yes, let's not go there.
That's Barclay.
It was a very strange day, wasn't it?
Well, it was an eclipse after all.
It was a shadow.
Yes.
November 1985, West End Girls. How far you've come? Did you think that you'd still be here writing songs? How's it kind of panned out in terms of how you thought it was going to?
I think when West End Girls came out, there was an assumption, particularly in the kind of music business, that we were a classic one-hit wonder group, because West End Girls is such an unusual record, and it's sort of difficult to follow it up. And I think a lot of people thought, it would be a good one-hit wonder record, but that would be the end of it. And
what did you think? What was your intention?
Probably thought the same, to be honest. But what people probably didn't realise is that when West End Girls was a hit, Chris and I had been writing songs together for 3 or 4 years, and we'd already written a load of songs, like It's a Sin, for instance, which went on to be big, or be even bigger hits. And so we had sort of confidence about it. But I think then, as now, we just do the thing that's happening at the moment, and we try not to worry too much about the future.
Is it something you must be proud of what you've achieved over the years when you look back at it? Is it a warm smile, or do you think, oh my goodness, how did we get here?
Well, I do think about the amount of time we've been doing it, and and how old you've become on the through the back door, kind of like
how did that
happen, and how did because when you look at the greatest hits, they're just the singles. You think, how did we? I don't know how we wrote all those songs, really, but
that's what
dried
I mean.
up. So
in terms of the level of success has been pretty much constant all that time. That's you still seem to have so much fun with it. It's never been doesn't seem to have ever been a pressure to just keep coming up with these hits one after the other after the other.
Yeah, I think that's the thing, is that we enjoy it. Writing songs and making the records and stuff. It's always been something we've really, really enjoyed. We've kind of moaned over the years about doing promotion and stuff and making videos sometimes, but really, so much of it is great. And I worked for a living before I did this.
Oh, I know.
I worked for 10 years in magazine and book publishing. Marvel Comics, and a company called Adult Education, and then Smash Hits, of course. And so it always seems a bit to me, when I wake up in the morning, like a thrill. That's
it's still a bonus.
All we're going to do is go to the studio and write a song. It just seems great.
That's amazing. We have there are so many young bands now that you talk to that we were in the studio for a week and God, we worked so hard and it's just not fair. Hello.
I know, it's better than working for a living.
It's unbelievable.
It's much better than working for a living.
I've never understood
really
rock stars complaining about fame and their life and everything. We think there isn't a better one.
Exactly.
What would you prefer? Actually, maybe football is pretty good.
Yeah, but then
because acting is much harder work. When we did our musical a few years ago, we really appreciated how hard actors work in the theatre. Mm-hmm. And also a few years ago, astonishingly, we made a film, and that is really hard work, making a film. All rock stars and pop stars do not, which we are no exception, do not like getting up in the morning. And you have to be on the set at 6 a.m. for makeup. And it's really boring and very, very hard work.
So it clearly didn't kind of tempt you away from your original course.
Anyway, you do learn to admire what other people go through.
Well, most actors are unemployed at any time, aren't they? So...
and then they've got all of that.
I'd steer clear of acting would be my advice.
Don't do it. Write a record. Is it possible for you to kind of pinpoint any highlights?
I think
apart from the Eclipse.
Apart from the Eclipse, any particular highlights? Any songs that you've out of the many that you've been particularly proud of?
Musically, mm-hmm. I think. We get asked sometimes, what's your favourite song you've done? And I think we both agree that it's a song called Being Boring, which we did in 1990. And actually, we're funny, we went to see a play last night and they were using Being Boring in it. And it kept coming in. I kept thinking,
wow,
God, we really want to produce this, isn't it? But it's a record that I think it's a sort of a beautiful song, and it's a kind of autobiographical for me, the lyric. And the music is just, I think, is really it's kind of moving. Mm-hmm. Something about it. I don't know. It's got a real quality about it that's a bit magical. And I always like records that are a bit magical, that you can't really work out what you did to make it. And that has that sort of quality to me.
When you're making a record like Being Boring, do you know whether it's special, or does it still come as a surprise the way that people react to the work that you do? Do you know when something's different? This is a really good one.
I think when we wrote West End Girls, and it came out in an unusual way because Chris and I had written an instrumental, and I'd separately written a rap that was trying to sound like Grandmaster Flash,
Cool.
which was the inspiration for West End Girls. And the first time I went in the studio, which was in New York, with the producer Bobby O. We played this instrumental, and I said, that rap I wrote, if you do it over the top, you get to a bit and you can sing it like a chorus. And so on the original version of West End Girls, it was the first time I ever sang it, and everyone in the studio thought it was very special, and we did as well, because it just sounded sort of great. I think that's probably the most intense experience we've ever had like that. I mean, Being Boring, I sort of remember we spent ages working on it. It was a bit of a struggle.
It was a huge struggle. We couldn't get the right key.
Bizarre is that?
Yeah.
And in the end, you sing it in two different octaves because there's a compromise.
Just do both of them.
Yeah.
Did you? I mean, you've the single "Flamboyant" is out imminently, and do you still get excited about where it's going to go in the charts, what you've got to do around it? Is it still the same kind of buzz as it was with West End Girls, or are you kind of a bit more laid back now?
No, I think you have to fight more for it, as you've been around a long time, because people are so used to you and sort of take you for granted in a way, really. They take immense songwriting talents just for granted. And so you have to really go and fight for your space and fight your cause, really. So, because there was a period in the 80s where everything just automatically sort of got A-listed and all of this kind of stuff.
Totally, every time.
And you sort of just take that for granted as well. But now you have to really fight for it, do a lot of promotion, a lot of TV shows and stuff. Not complaining about it, but it's been good fun, particularly on Flamboyant. If we're doing these, Anton Deck's Saturday Night Takeaway type of programmes and stuff. And it's quite nice to do sort of Saturday night primetime variety show type of stuff.
I mean, do you think that the Pet Shop Boys sound has aged well with what else is around?
Well, it's kind of come back into fashion. Because the whole 90s thing was all about house music and stuff. But house music now can sound quite dated. You hear those early... Because I was going through my records the other day, and a lot of the 90s stuff sounds really old-fashioned, whereas the 80s stuff, because of the whole Electro Clash thing and the way it's been reinterpreted, sounds fresh again. So in a way, our sound sounds more contemporary than it did 10 years ago. I
think that's one of the benefits of having such a long career. It must be fairly amusing for as well for people who are involved in guitar bands to see the likes of The Darkness coming round again, and for you guys to see all that electro stuff coming. Yeah. And people, the bands that people are going to see as well now, that you think, where have these people been for 10 years? And they're touring again. It's quite a nice reflective place to be. Is it?
Yeah, it is. I think what's quite interesting with music is that styles of music never go away. They might go in and out of fashion. Let's assume we conform to one style of music, but styles of music, like talking about The Darkness, they never really go. There's always been people who've liked that kind of mad theatrical progressive rock. That's why Queen are still so popular, but they're just not fashionable. And I think that's an interesting thing, that that music can become unfashionable, but there is still an audience for it out there.
Your visuals have always been important for you, sleeve covers. How does that process work for you, whether that's the videos or the sleeve covers? You're very much involved in that, I assume.
Yes. Yes, we are. Well, we've worked with the same design team now for a long time, Mark Farrow. And but on the video for Flamboyant, it's the first time that the record company have been totally involved in the whole thing and suggested the video director, and we just went along with the whole thing.
Because he's a new video, Nico Bayer, isn't it? Is that
well, actually he
does
commercials, but he's sort of come out of retirement. He actually did he do pop promos ever?
He's done one or two, maybe.
Yeah, but he did this because he just liked the song and wanted to work with us. So it's a very slick video we've got this time, which we really can't take any credit for, except being in it.
Tell us about the video for those people who haven't seen it on the other side of the world.
Nico Bayer had the idea, that was aware of this TV show in Japan. Unfortunately, I can't remember the name of it, where people do these outrageous stunts, and the most outrageous one wins.
Oh, no, it's not like that. It's not eating.
No, it's not that.
Oh, right, okay.
No, it's in a very creative way.
Oh, right,
yeah.
Okay, cool.
It's like creating these fantastic vignettes of, for instance, people running into a box and then turning into a box of French fries.
Oh, my, wow.
It's very, very clever. I can't imagine an English member. I can't imagine creating these things. And they're very, very clever. Mm-hmm. And the best one wins, and they take it very seriously. They spend a whole year getting this thing together, and then it's voted for, and it's a very popular programme over there. So you get the various entries in this TV shows.
And they're real ones. The real ones.
Oh, really? They are?
With the cooperation of the TV show in Japan. Yeah. And the winning one, we see in the video, we see a man getting his idea and going through and he wins.
Oh, fantastic.
And all this really happened. And the one that wins, he gets his mates he does a live snooker table and his friends play the snooker balls and they do this kind of...
What?
Not a dance, but they all move their heads around.
And then the balls go in the pots.
And the balls go in the
Oh,
pots.
fantastic.
Really
oh,
clever.
cool.
You
Excellent.
have to see it and to understand. And we appear in it as Japanese TV commercials. So because it goes between the TV and what the man's doing, and we appear on the TV commercials.
And there's Happy Shampoo, is it?
And again, the director made up all the products.
Yeah.
He made up all the products.
Japan, you're going on tour there. You must have been before. We've got Japan dates in Dubai, Japan, Brazil, Mexico. Japan, Brazil, that sounds like a lot of fun to me.
Oh, yes.
It really
last time
does.
we toured South America, it was purely for fun.
Absolutely. Well, yeah, Brazil, Rio de Janeiro, Sao Paulo, and then Mexico City. And, of course, Japan is just such an... I mean, I've never been. I'd love to go. You must have been numerous times.
We've been in Japan quite a lot of times, actually. 6 or 7 times, probably at least. And we did a world tour just under a couple of years ago. And we thought we should really play places that we didn't go. We didn't get South America last time.
Yep.
And we've always had a strong fan base in Mexico and Brazil, and actually across a lot of South America. And Japan, last time we just did the Fuji Rock Festival, so we haven't actually toured there for 5 years. So we just thought we'd go and visit all these places.
What are Japanese audiences like? I mean, how do they... I mean, it must be... I mean, in terms of the type of music that you do, they must be a perfect audience. They must get it completely.
Yeah, we've always had quite a big audience in Japan. And when we first went there and toured, they said, now you must get used to the fact that Japanese audiences are very reserved and quiet. And then we started and they weren't.
Yeah, very disappointed. Because we were doing a theatrical show at the time. We wanted everyone to sit down quietly.
And anyway, they were... So that actually, over the years, they're just the same as I mean, the wildest audiences are probably in South America.
Really?
Oh, definitely.
We did a live video 10 years ago in Brazil, in Rio, and it was the audience was completely... They were really part of the show. But Japan is pretty much the same as the rest of the world.
Do you enjoy touring as much as you did?
Well, actually, we didn't tour for several years, you know. We were really a recording band, then we started at the end of the 80s. And now, we don't sort of relentlessly tour like Elton John is always on tour, for instance. But we enjoy it. Well, I think the thing you never really enjoy, and all bands probably think this is the flying and all the rest of it.
Yeah.
But being there, I mean, it's what the Japanese tour is great, especially in Tokyo for a week, which is really unusual when you're on tour. Mm-hmm. You normally just fly in and out of somewhere. So that's really nice.
You're going to get a chance to see the place as well.
Get a chance to see the place, yeah. And Brazil, we're going to all these places we've never been to before on the coast. Recife.
I think I might have to hide away in your equipment. And,
come and do a World Service documentary.
Yeah, that's it. A World Service documentary on the Pet Shop Boys in Brazil. That sounds like a fine idea to me. Studio albums was released 2 years ago. Now, are you working on the next? Are you busy?
Yeah, we've written a lot of songs for the next album.
Brilliant.
We're always working.
Can you tell us anything about it?
I think it's more electro than the previous release.
Because the last one was quite guitar-y, yeah.
Yeah, well, we always tend to react against what we've just done. But also another reason for this is that a lot of the keyboards that we used to have, they now exist as soft keyboards in your computer. So we've rediscovered all these old keyboards and all these old sounds again. They all seem fresh, and you can do more with them in the computer. So that's been quite an inspiration.
When are we going to see that out and about, do you think?
Maybe next year sometime.
Yeah?
Yeah.
That's maybe.
That's maybe.
If we get back from Brazil.
Yes.
If we get...
If we come back at
in one piece.
All right, then. Well, listen, before we count down the top 10 album countdown, would you do us a favour and introduce your record, please?
Yes, we're the Pet Shop Boys.
And which one are we introducing? Flamboyant.
Yeah, go on, that one then, yeah.
We're the Pet Shop Boys.
And this is Flamboyant.
Our new single.